Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Joy of Sticks. Stickhead here with your Atari SD gaming channel. Today I thought we'd have another tier list with the Euros in full swing. I thought, why not have a look at the best that the Atari SD has to offer in terms of football games. I say the best, they're not all the best, as we shall find out. So here we can see the tiers have been broken into the following. We've got the Wonder Kids, you know, those ones that are truly special. Perhaps once in a generation, something comes along with such flair, creativity and joy that it captures your heart forever. Step down from there, we've got the Top Flight Star. Maybe not consistently brilliant, but will still, you know, catch fire every now and again and show some brilliance. We've got the Journeyman next. Not flashy at all, but, you know, not headline grabbing, but reliable, dependable. Just below there, we've got the non-league shin kickers. They might be a little bit rough around the edges, a bit painful to play occasionally, but, you know, everyone loves a trier. And, of course, at the bottom there, we've got the ones that are only here because their dad is the coach, the absolute donkeys, the crocs, the doldrums, the rock bottom tier for the SD football games. So what games have I included here? As with my previous tier video, it might not be the most extensive list. There's probably some things missing here, and as always, you're welcome to wade into the comment section below and let me know what I've missed and what you think of those games. But I've tried to include all the ones I can remember at least, and I've missed out. I haven't included football management games. That might be a video for another day. Which includes Player Manager, by the way. I've kind of included that as a management game, even though it's both. I don't know why my mind goes to Sensible World of Soccer and stabs a little dagger in my heart, but of course the SD never got Sensible World of Soccer, but even if it did, I wouldn't have included it here. These are purely the games that, you know, that you play, the football. No management here whatsoever. And I didn't include Subbuteo either, even though that's a rather charming little game. It's more of an emulation of the game of Subbuteo. So here we go. Should we get started? Now, first up, we have got Gaza's Super Soccer. Now, this is an interesting one. And you got to wonder, like back in the days, the absolute crap that really top-tier footballers were prepared to stick their name and faces on. I can't imagine Gaza played this and endorsed it. I mean, it's it's not good. So it's got this the worst thing about it is this bizarre change of perspective. So you'll be running along the pitch, and as soon as you get into your attacking final third, it'll switch to a behind the player facing the goal view, which is bizarre. I mean, normally I applaud a game for trying something different, but it doesn't work whatsoever. So you'll be, you know, pushing left to attack your goal, and then all of a sudden it'll switch perspective and you've run off the pitch, basically. It's just crazy. It also has the, you know, trying to overcome the one button control mechanism. You hold the button to build up power, and there's this weird power meter at the bottom that looks like the radar from Elite. But yeah, you hold the fire button, you move a dot around. It's just really obtuse, and it doesn't work. I mean, aside from that, it's, you know, your players are called goalie or player 10 and stuff like that. It's just bad. It's bad. Is it only here because his dad is the coach bad? Is it that terrible? I don't think it's quite that terrible. It's a non-league shin kicker. All right, if it's all you had, you'd have a bit of fun with it, I think. Which brings us on to the sequel. Gaza, not perturbed by almost being responsible for the worst game in the Atari ST, worst football game in the Atari ST, I should say, sticks his name on its sequel. But this is quite a significant step up, really. Quality across the board has been improved. It's got digital music, a nice loading screen. There's lots of nice little touches, like different weather conditions that you can actually see on the pitch because the pitch changes colour and stuff. There's a decent radar. I'm running out of things to praise this with, because it's not great. It's got really wonky AI. It doesn't flow like a game of football in any way, shape or form. What it has got, it's got superb punditry screens. So at half time, Gaza and somebody who looks like Jimmy Hill will pop up and start discussing the match, which is a brilliant touch. That's really, really good. But yeah, one unforgivable thing about this game is that you can slide tackle faster than you can run. So if you're chasing a player, you just slide tackle alongside them to catch them up. That's bad. That's bad. Other little things that niggle, like you can kick it to yourself and throw it to yourself from throw-ins and things, and I just think you shouldn't be able to do that. So what's this one? Like I say, it's a step up from non-league shin kicker. It's a journeyman. And the only time those two phrases have been included alongside Gaza, I'm sure, but hey, the football games do not live up to the players' ability at all. Okay, so where are we next? We've got Microprose Soccer next. What was its full title? Was it Microprose International Soccer or something like that? Yeah, I can't really remember, but I mostly played this one on the CPC. The ST version is almost identical to that, really, apart from higher resolution and more colours and stuff like that. But lots of nice touches in this game. You can play indoor or outdoor football, which is great. You can change options and change the amount of aftertouch you can have, so you end up with you can have these ridiculous banana shots that boomerang back round to you, which is hilarious. It's got this awesome replay feature where when you score, it does a little kind of black and white rewind like it's on VHS, which is cool. I mean, it's cool. You never saw that in a live broadcast of football, so I'm not quite sure why they included it, but it is cool. It's a solid game. It's quirky, but it's solid. I tell you what, it does have these bizarre musical hits like just before you're about to kick off and in the middle of the flow of the match and stuff, which just feels weird, but it's a solid game. I mean, is it a top flight star? Probably not. We're going to put it top of Journeyman, I think. We'll see where the others stack up. We might move it up. No, it's not a top flight star. No, it just isn't. Okay, next one. All right, Sensible Soccer. This is the European Champions Edition. There were a few different versions of it. I knew them as version 1.1 and version 1.2, but I think they had other strap lines. And what can we say about this? What a fabulous game! Extremely responsive controls, dribbling and passing feels brilliant. The dribbling, it's not glued to your foot like most football games, but then it's not bouncing ahead of you like Kickoff. It's kind of a mixture of the two that I feel finds a really nice middle ground. You can't just pirouette with the ball willy-nilly. You have to actually think about where the ball is in relation to your character, your player before you turn and stuff, which is great. I think one of the best features of the game is the viewpoint, because it's so zoomed out. You've got this. And not only is the aesthetic of the game really cool, you've got these tiny little men that the game inherited from Megalomania. It looks great, but it gives a lovely flow to the game because you can see your players up ahead of the pitch, so you can build up a passing move. You can see the opponent's strategy, their formation, so you can find the gaps and things, which gives it a really, really nice flow. I think out of all the games, SD football games, this emulates that kind of passing flow of a game of football best. And I just played it for hours and hours and hours and hours. One of the few games I actually went out and bought on release in physical. I remember standing in W.H. Smith's holding my copy with blatantly a picture of Ruud Gullit on the front, but they probably hadn't paid him to be able to be on the front because it was blurred out and dark. You couldn't tell it was him apart from the orange kit and dreadlocks. A bit sneaky. But yeah, I just remember holding it in my hands and being desperate to get home and play it. Spent hours in the game. Loved the fact that you could edit the teams. Loved putting my friends into the game and playing as them. Loved the special teams are ridiculous, where you could play as like Breakfast, or EastEnders, and like Dirty Den and stuff. Yeah, so much fun to be had in that game. That is a wonder kid. Generational talent, no doubt about it. Okay, what are we up to next? Oh, another game close to my heart here. Emlyn Hughes. Now, before Sensible Soccer and Kickoff came along, this was the number one for us. We loved this game. You're talking about editing teams in the previous entry here. This was the first game I really remember where you can edit the names and the abilities of the players. So, you know, making yourself a generational talent and taking down Germany in the World Cup final. That just never got old. That was fabulous. I mean, where you can edit the teams, you can edit the kits, you can even change the length of the sleeves and stuff like that. We just lapped it up, absolutely lapped it up. You know, coming from the Amstrad where we'd played Match Day 2, which, you know, is a decent football game, but so many more features to enjoy in Emlyn Hughes. The graphics are cool, looks really nice, this side view. The pitch is a bit like foreshortened, seems a bit narrow and long, but it's a bit of a grumble, really. I like the way Emlyn Hughes controls, because your players have momentum, so you can't just stop and turn. Like if you're running and then you press the opposite direction, your player slows, turns, and then runs. So it actually makes more sense to kind of pivot around, as if your player's like sticking his studs in the ground and turning. That felt really cool. But also you could run in one direction, hold the fire button to kick the ball, and then press a direction to kick it in. So you could have, you know, you could have a mazy dribble and then get onto the wing and cross it in while still running towards the touchline and stuff like that. Or you could run across the face of goal and whack it into the top corner. Just really good. What a great game. So much fun to be had there. That's a top flight star. No doubt about it. Okay, next up, Striker. Now, I didn't really play this on the ST back in the day. I played Striker on my Super Nintendo, and it was a great football game. Really, really good. And the ST version suffers in comparison. It's bound to. It's bound to. But trying to think about it on its own merits, right? It's got this kind of, I call it a Madden perspective, because I played a lot of John Madden, American football game, that has this kind of perspective, and the way the camera moves, it has a very similar thing going on here, which is lovely to see on the ST. You know, used to seeing it on the Super Nintendo, on the Mega Drive, but here on the ST, that was fab. It's very fast, it's very kinetic, like the Super Nintendo version, but it's a little bit floaty and unpredictable at times, which makes proceedings a bit kind of pinballish, a bit random, which is a bit of a shame. To counter the controls being moved to a single button, you have to hold for a power shot and just tap for a pass and things, which is at odds with the speed of the game, really, because it's kind of, you know, pinballing around and everything's very fast. And then to take a shot, you've got to hold the button, and, you know, your player stops, and yeah, just that spoils things a little. It looks good. I mean, I really like the graphics. I like the way the characters of the players are animated. The heads-up display here is well drawn. It actually has a functional radar that's useful. And this is the only game that I can think of on the ST where you can actually hit a volley. You know, you can actually hit a first timer, which feels really cool. So as your player approaches the ball, or the ball's on its way, you press fire before he actually has it under control, and he whacks it. It feels really good, really good. And like I say, not many ST games, if any, implement that, which is worthy of note. Now, where does this sit? This is hard to rate, because I think it's a bit better than Microprose. Does that push it into top flight star? It's definitely not as good as Emlyn Hughes. Oh, that's hard. I'm going to put it lower top flight for now, and it might get bumped down depending on what joins it later. Yeah, we'll have a think about that later. But it is kind of in that crease of top flight star journeyman. Okay, what we got next? Okay, Peter Beardsley. Oh dear. Talking about Gaza, brilliant footballer putting his name on an absolutely terrible game. Here we've got Beardsley, a player I absolutely adored. And before I was a Birmingham City fan, I was an Everton fan, through no real reason other than I got a hand-me-down football shirt from my uncle. My uncle he used to collect football shirts. He was an Arsenal fan, but he'd collect football shirts, so any football shirts he could get his hands on, he would buy and wear, and he outgrew this Everton top, and it made its way down to me. So that was it. I was an Everton fan for a little while. I stress a little while because once I'd seen my first in the flesh football match at the Blues, I became a Blues fan, a Birmingham City fan. But always got a soft spot in my heart for Everton from then onwards. And Beardsley was one of my real heroes back then. So, of course, the game's going to be brilliant, right? Beardsley was brilliant. The game must be brilliant. No, it's ridiculously bad. It's unbelievably pedestrian. So ridiculously slow. And not only is the running slow, the running slow, the gameplay slow, but also whenever you want to do anything, if you want to kick the ball, you've got to hold the button, and this power bar creeps up so slowly. You've got to hold it for about 5 seconds before you get any real power on a pass. It's terrible. The AI is absolute dog turd. Most of the players just stand around while you dribble, or while they dribble past you, desperately pressing the fire button, trying to control the nearest defender. And the game's having none of it. Absolutely none of it. Goalie control is hilarious. You look incredibly terrible. This kind of constipated crouch when you press the fire button. It's honestly, this game is so bad. One redeeming feature, it's got this nice picture-in-picture type thing. So when the referee's unhappy with you and blows his whistle, he appears in the top left with a scowl that Kalina would be proud of. So yeah, that's terrible. It's only here because its dad is the coach. All right, what are we on to next? Okay, Kickoff. Now the footage you see is me playing Kickoff with the extra time add-on, so bear that in mind. But here we're just playing the bare bones Kickoff, right? We're rating the bare bones Kickoff, and it is the bare bones, not the bare bones. It's like the foundation of an absolutely brilliant football experience. It's incredibly quick, it's kinetic, it's responsive. I mean, genuinely, the first time we saw this running, it just took our breath away. And we had to have it. You know, we'd gone from Emlyn Hughes, which is a great football game, but, you know, it's not ponderous, but you know what I mean? It's kind of slow build up to this, which is just fire. We just couldn't believe it. And the gameplay is great to go with it as well. I mean, it's punishing. As aforementioned, the ball just bounces off your player. It doesn't stick to your feet at all. So if you're going to do a turn, it has to be perfectly timed. When you want to shoot, it has to be when the ball is just at your feet. It's punishing, it's difficult, but it rewards mastery. It probably has the highest, Kickoff and its sequels have the highest skill ceiling of any of these football games. And more on that a little bit later, actually. But yeah, took a long time to master, but really rewarded the effort. And as a result, because everything is so hard earned, the goals just feel amazing. Just feel utterly amazing when you score, because they're so hard earned. And as a game, it's just kind of missing the extra accoutrement, the like the extra bits you want, like the team editing and the tournaments and all that kind of stuff. So we'll stick this one in Top Flight Star, because then we get to move on to the sequel. And now take everything I've just said about Kickoff. It's got the same great kinetic, vibrant, pacey gameplay, but then sprinkle in all the little extras, like teams with recognisable, not real players, but recognisable players, and statistics. So that makes substitutions and tactical changes way more meaningful. A bit of extra control on your players, so you can do chips, you can turn on aftertouch and curl shots, shit pingers into the top corner. And then you've got editable teams and kits and tournaments. The set pieces are better. There's funny celebrations that add extra character. The AI is better. It's just everything is improved. There's weather effects where the pitch can be muddy and the ball just sticks. It's so good. It's just the complete package. It's going up into Wonder Kid. Now, is it better than Sensible Soccer? I've got a feeling we could spend an entire video comparing Sensible Soccer and Kickoff 2, and maybe that's something that I do. So, in fact, that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to do it now. Their position here is interchangeable for now, because they're both just utterly brilliant. The only reason Sensible is in this position is because it was their first. We'll have to do a video comparing the two and deciding once and for all which one's best, because they're both just fabulous, fabulous football games. Anyway, right, this video is getting really long, so we're going to stop there. We're going to take a break. Next week we'll continue. We've got another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games to rate. So we'll have a look at those next week. Hope you enjoyed it so far, guys. What do you think on where I've rated the games so far? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Am I missing some games here? What about the Sensible Soccer versus Kickoff 2 debate? Where do you sit on that one? Thank you ever so much for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed it. See you soon.